Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Courageous Conversations. I'm your host, Laurabel Mba, and I'm honestly so excited to kick off this podcast. This podcast came to me as a mix of a lot of different things. It was an idea that started as part of what happened after the conversations I would have during my Race Table Talk sessions. So, for those of you who don't know, Race Table Talks is an initiative that I have under Laurabel Mba Consulting, which has racialized co facilitators facilitating conversations for non racialized folks about race, racism, and all the intersecting identities of the above. And so, after these sessions, my co facilitators and I would talk about the conversations we would have with participants and how our racial identities and our other intersecting identities impacted how we showed up in our work, in our personal lives, and in society as a whole. And then through that, I started to think, I would love to know how other people, not just racialized people, but people with other, sometimes categorized as marginalizing identities, balanced the way society saw them with the way they saw themselves and how they showed up for themselves, for their communities, and how they showed up in society just existing. And that's where the idea of Courageous Conversations were born. So, over this series of podcasts and episodes, you will get a chance to meet individuals that I think are cool and interesting in a variety of different ways, whether it's their racial identity and the way they navigate the spaces they are in with the other intersecting identities, whether they're just doing things in society and communities that I think are interesting or are innovative, or if I think the way that they're living in the world is courageous for whatever reason that I find it to be courageous. You'll get to know them as not just the stereotypes in which they try to break, but who they are as people and what empowers them to show up authentically in their lives every day, some of the struggles that they have, and what their greatest successes are. So, before we get into all the cool stuff about the guests that you're going to see over this next season, I'm going to take a second to introduce who I am. So, if you're tuning in, there's a really good chance you've met me somewhere in society in the real world before. If you haven't, hi, I'm Laurabel. It's really nice to meet you. For those of you who know me as something else, hi, it's still me. Same person that you have grown to know and love. I am a mom to what I like to describe as an awesome 5-year-old now, biracial little boy who tests my gangster daily in the best possible ways. He is definitely a spirit and a soul that knows what he wants and is definitely here in this world to make an impact. I run my own business, Laurabel Mba Consulting, which allows me to support individuals, communities, and organizations in understanding what diversity, equity, and inclusion actually mean from an anti-racist point of view. It's something I do based out of Newfoundland, Labrador. If you don't know where that is, you can pull up a map. We are as East Coast as you can get in North America and still stay North America. We are the land of RDF, also known as Rain, Drizzle, Fog. And no, it is not where I'm originally from, but it's where I call home now. I am Nigerian by birth and culture, but I've had the pleasure of growing up in Ontario, Toronto, Oakville, and in Alberta, St. Albert, and chilling in Edmonton with my friends. Things that I think that are interesting about me. I am queer, for those who don't know and who don't always know how that shows up for me. Yep, I'm queer. I am female identifying, and those are my intersecting identities. Obviously, I'm Black. If you're listening and not watching the videos, I am a Black woman, Nigerian by birth, once again, Canadian by nationality now and citizenship. So these are the identities that impact how I show up into spaces and influence the things that I have an interest in and the way society views me and how I view myself in society. So I'm really excited to go on this journey with all of you over the next series of episodes. The guest lineup is something that is going to be ever evolving and ever changing. And if you think they are people that I definitely should get the chance to sit and talk to and have a courageous conversation with, please at any point feel free to send me an email or a message as to how to get in contact and people you would love to see on this podcast. But I want to thank you for clicking and deciding to come on this courageous conversations journey. And if there's anything or topics that you would love to get a courageous conversation insight on, please also feel free to let me know what that is. I can't wait to continue to explore and discover with all of you. And I invite you into a brave space because we can't promise safety in everything, but we can promise to be a little bit braver each day. And we're going to get courageous in our conversations.